Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Paulo P13 here, and today I'm not technically starting a new series because I kind of already started it a little bit, but now I'm starting to actually get into a specific series. And the series I'm talking about is the massive beginner's guide to Marvel Strike Force. So far I kind of just gave a general overview of a lot of the mechanics in the game, nothing too specific. But right now, I'm going to start talking a bit about certain, the plan that you need to have, or that I suggest having, in order to be as successful as possible from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. But of course, to do this, I had to break it down. I'm not just going to be like, all right, day one you do this, day two, and then just go on and on and on and on and on. So the way I'm kind of decided to do this was I was going to try and break it into phases, which is something a lot of the other content creators that have done stuff about this have done, but I'm kind of trying to come up with more idealistic phases, as opposed to saying something like, just do this and then this and then this. I'm going to say, okay, this is the preparation phase for this, then you're doing this, which is the getting this ready phase, and so on and so forth. I'm also going to try and do something a little different that I haven't seen anyone else do. If someone else has done this, please let me know. But I'm going to try to talk a bit about some differences that are going to come up if you're free to play and if you're not free to play. I believe the basis of this guide is free to play based. And you can technically make shortcuts by paying into this, but there might be, if you're wanting to spend money in this game, there might be other ways of spending money that give you a bigger shortcut that can kind of change this entire plan. So I'm not going to be going giving you 5 guides, all of this. If you're willing to spend $30 a month, this is your plan. If you're only buying one offer ever, buy this character. But what I'm going to say is if you're buying this character, this changes this. So I'm kind of going to call, try and just give a bit of feedback here and there just on some characters that change the plan. Also, just fun fact, this is, I believe, the first ever video I've recorded without a hat on. The reason is, my hat made my head a little bit see-through. I don't have my green screen, so for some reason my computer still kind of thinks maybe I got a green screen here, and is trying to find things, and it thought my gray hat was close enough, and it made my head see-through. So no hat today, fun fact. But yeah, that's what today's video is about. Not about the lack of hat, but gonna give you the first phase. And that first phase is the setup phase. Of course, I've already done the guide on all the introductory mechanics and the game modes and so on and so forth, and general advice. I do have tons of videos on my channel about more specific guides to certain currencies and so on and so forth. But we're gonna talk about, let's pretend you have just started Marvel Strike Force. I don't have an account that has just started, so I'm not going to be showing that. I don't have time for a secondary account like many others do, unfortunately. But let's just pretend you have just started Marvel Strike Force. If you're watching this and you have, perfect. You can't, any guide that you find, they're all telling you teams that you can't do anything with day one. You can't use these teams day one. So I'm trying to find, today's video is talking about getting you from I have one character to I can now use these teams. It's preparing you for that moment. Anyways, I kind of rambled on a little bit too much in this intro. So yeah, hopefully you're still here. I do think this is very helpful. Let me know anything else you guys want to hear me talk about. If I missed anything, let me know that down in the comments, or just join my Discord. Let me know. There's a link in the video description. But yeah, let's get into this. I don't want to waste any more time on this. So let's get into the game and talk about some stuff, guys. Okay, important detail. The first character you're going to have unlocked when you play this game is SpiderMan. He's your only character. You're going to get a few characters for free. You're going to get SpiderMan, you're going to get Punisher, you're going to get Luke Cage, you're going to get Shield Medic. You can get Elektra and Crossbones very early on, basically for free, so on and so forth. And the only thing that you're going to have available to you when you first play this game is campaigns, heroes campaign. All right, load up, please. Thank you. And you're going to be, nope, that's the wrong button. Let's try that again. Here, you're going to have Nothing. You're going to have to be on Heroes 1. Honestly, I don't remember every single point of the campaign you have to beat to unlock another campaign, but I do know for a fact you start with just the Heroes campaign unlocked, and you're going to look through, and you're going to just have SpiderMan, and you're going to have those very beginner characters that I've told you that you're going to have, and you're going to have to figure your way through whatever is presented to you until you can build towards what's next. So you're going to need to be getting some characters out of this Heroes campaign in order to kind of build for what's next. And what's next is going to be the Villains campaign. And you're going to need to be able to get from the Heroes campaign, be able to get a starter Villains team going in order to get you to the point where you can actually prepare yourself for the next phase. So that's what this is really talking about. So it's some more basic introduction information. One of the most important thing about this game is finishing all of your daily objectives. So let me go and show you that real quick. Why am I scrolling? It's right here. Big words, daily objectives. I should have read that. But anyways, you go here, you can see I've already done them all. But there's going to be some very, very many things like buying supplies, doing arena battles, doing blitz battles, participating in raids, so on and so forth. Donation. You're not going to get all of those when you first start because you don't have access to them all. But what you will have is completing campaign missions and Heroes campaign, completing 3 battles in a Heroes campaign, and I believe 3 battles in Villains campaign. So one thing you're going to always want in this game is you're going to always want to be able to have a character or something important that you're farming in Heroes campaign and something important you're going to be wanting to farm in Villains campaign. That is true from the first moment you play this game till the last moment you play this game as the biggest player in the game, because it's a daily objective and you're just wasting your resources if you don't do it. So you kind of have to plan with that. I know I'm starting with some more general information before getting into the specifics, but this is important information to know. Another very important concept for being a beginner is unlocking all of the game modes as quick as possible. So that involves ranking up. The easiest way to level up as a beginner player is using your energy in the campaigns. Just using as much as possible, beating as many levels as possible. Spending your energy is a great way of leveling up, which helps you unlock all of the other game modes, which is going to make you as successful as possible, as quickly as possible. Something else to know, you always get these 2 free orbs, open them. Events are good, but again, you're going to want to open these all so that you can start worrying about their stores, because these stores are great. So I'm just going to give you a couple of thoughts here and there about them really quick before we get more specific into the characters that you're going to want to be doing from every avenue in the game. But again, this one's going to mostly focus on the beginning chapters of Heroes and Villains up until where you need to be for the first team I recommend going hard for. So in supplies, here's where you have access to all the stores, and it's trying to tell me to buy stuff, and I'm not buying that. I don't have money. Money is required to do this. But here, supplies, I talked about this in my previous video, what you're going to find in them all. But now I'm going to talk a little more specifically about this 2 major stores here, because there's a lot of disagreement in the community on this, people giving different advice for beginners. And I have been on record with both. There are 2 theories. You buy the character you need to get you to what you need the fastest. For instance, if you have a plan to try and unlock Star-Lord, which is a good legendary, and a lot of people recommend him as one of the first legendary to go for, you need Guardians and Ravagers. So some people would recommend, for instance, buying Mantis here. However, a more efficient option is buying Blitz Orbs, because they cost less, they give the same amount of shards, and they give you gold. The issue is you can't control who you're going to get. So some people say if it costs you the legendary, so on, it's not worth it. Some people say if it costs you the legendary, it doesn't matter because it's going to help you more in the long run. And this is actually a very difficult thing to really argue against either point. They both make sense. And for the longest time, was pro Blitz Orb only. But there is reason to argue against it. So I have kind of amended my viewpoint on this. I think it's both. I think you need to find a balance to buy as many Blitz Orbs as possible, but kind of have a good timing so that you're buying the characters in the Blitz Store at the rate you need to get the legendary or whatever you're working towards. Now, I was planning on making a spreadsheet for this, but I don't have that spreadsheet ready now, so I'm not going to be sharing that for you. I will probably make another video when I have that spreadsheet ready, but for now, I would recommend kind of figuring out when the legendary event you're working for is coming and determining how much you have to buy that character, and when you don't specifically need to buy the characters, then you buy some Blitz Orbs, or an easy idea, 1 week Blitz Orbs, 1 week character, or 1 day Blitz Orbs, 1 day character, kind of balance between the two. And then you run into the same issue. I just knocked something over. It's fine. With the raid store, because you can buy these raid characters, store characters in the raid store, or you can buy the raid orbs. Raid orbs are more efficient for your currency, but you can't control who you're going to get. In the long run, the raid orbs are better for you. In the short run, the raid purchases, like store purchases, can help you get a bit of a leg up. Again, I believe raid orbs are better, but there is the understanding that if there are certain characters you need to unlock or you need to rank up by a certain deadline, that the raid store makes sense. So I'm going to say probably go for the same thing. Kind of balance out between directly buying that character for when you need to and buying raid orbs when you can, because that is the ideal situation. And then you look at me, I'm not buying these. Well, the reason is I have everyone maxed. The only one I don't is like Namor, but I don't need him maxed right this second, so I'm not just going to buy raid orbs right now for him. So I save my raid credits because I need them for other things, but that's not really relevant to beginners. Arena store, so many good options. You can see who I bought right now is Blob, but he's not going to be who I tell you guys to farm, but there's a lot of different characters here that are relevant. Then the War Store. Man, there's so much good gear in the War Store. But as a beginner, you shouldn't be buying it really. There's too many important characters in this War Store. And I have my input on who I think the first one you should go for is, but that's probably going to be a little hotly debated. But that's okay. But I'm going to give you my reasons and then give reasons why other people may think other things and what they're going to think. The idea is that you guys make your own decisions and kind of use this as like framework for your decisions. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. Red stars, I'm not going to really be going too much into them in this point. They're probably a future video. I'm definitely not going into the Ultimate Store for any beginner's guide. But yeah, guys, that is just the basics of the stores and the currencies. So you're going to be wanting to be getting characters from the Arena Store, from the Blitz Store, from the War Store, from the Raid Store, getting a plan for all of those in what you do, and then Heroes Campaign and Villains Campaign definitely, and whatever other campaigns you can unlock from there, and you plan like that. So now I'm going to get a little bit more into what you specifically should be doing with those. Not just buying them, but telling you who to actually get and why. Okay, so the best way of me telling you guys what you're going to need to build up for is just telling you what you guys are going to need. You don't really need to know what we're building up to right away, but you need to know what you need to have to build up to it first. Other than just unlocking all the modes, which is very important, but that comes with leveling up and comes with time. And I can't really tell you just to build up this, build up that. But one thing you're going to have to be doing is building your way through the campaigns. And for what we're building to at this moment, you're going to need to build your way through the Cosmic Campaign, or at least the beginning of the Cosmic Campaign. So let me show you what we're going to need for that. Scroll over here. You start off in Heroes. You need to get to a certain point there to unlock some villains. You need to get to a certain point of that to get to Nexus. You need to get to a certain point of that to get to Cosmic. All right, so here what that means is you're going to need some heroes and you're going to need them built to a degree. You're going to need to get some villains and have them built to a degree. You're going to need to get to Nexus and you're going to have them built to a degree. And Nexus just means that you can do heroes and villains, so you really don't have to build too much more. Ideally, you'll have the right some good characters as good basis from heroes and villains already, that you don't need to worry about that. But then Cosmic just means you need some Cosmic characters. That's going to come from your Heroes and Villains collection, because everything comes from your Heroes and Villains collection. So I can't just say farm, let's say, Hela out of the Villains campaign, because you're not going to be getting to Hela anytime soon. She is at the end of the campaign, and that comes way late in the game. So everything that you build from has to be something achievable. So you start off. Let's go back to Heroes 2, Heroes 1. You're starting off here. And again, I said that you're going to have SpiderMan, you're going to have Punisher, you're going to have Luke Cage, and you're going to have Shield Medic given to you for free at some point. I didn't even 3-star this. Oops. At some point. You're also going to have easy access to Elektra and Crossbones. So that is really what you're starting with. Those 2 villains and those 4 heroes. So it's a good idea to fill out your roster with at least 5 heroes and 5 villains and build them accordingly. So for instance, SpiderMan, you can afford to put some resources in SpiderMan because he's going to help you later on in the game with various events such as unlocking a couple of legendaries, anything that requires city heroes, such as a block party event. There's some use for Spider-Man later in the game, same as Punisher. Punisher is also pretty good for some of the challenges in this game. Luke Cage is part of the Defenders, and a lot of people tell you to go Defenders first, and some people tell you to avoid them. Personally, the Defenders are not a great choice. They're really not worth building as a beginner character, other than how much you need them. So don't avoid them to the point where you refuse to build up the free character given to you to get through the content. But don't focus on them as your only team. Shield Medic and Luke Cage should only be built as needed. Punisher, maybe a touch more because he's going to be dealing some damage. And Spider-Man, you're not going to waste a ton of resources on him at this point. But again, all of these characters, try and not spend incredible amounts of resources, just enough to get you through the content. So you don't really need to be farming Punisher at this point in the game, but then you do run to Heroes 1-9. And I would recommend farming Yondu. What do I mean by farming? Every day, hit auto win, and then click the highest number, and just spend all of your uses possible for Yondu. And you'll be getting more and more of his shards. Why do I suggest this? Well, Yondu fits quite a few things for this game. First off, he is a villain, which helps fill out your villain team. Second off, he is cosmic, which gives you a start for your cosmic roster, which you're going to need, and he is the most easily accessible cosmic character around, so that's a good point. He is also Mystic, so eventually you can use him in the Mystic campaign if needed. He is finally a Ravager, which can be used to unlock Star-Lord, who is one of the best legendaries for beginners to this game. So there really is no reason to not farm Yondu. He's also on Heroes 1-9 really early on to farm. So you're going to want to be spending your campaign energy on Yondu. Why do I say that? Well, let's go to Heroes 2. You got Shield Medic, Bullseye, who you can farm to the degree of unlocking another villain, because you're going to need to fill out your villains, but he's not a great choice at this point. Up until late game, he becomes usable with a specific team, but he's not really going to do a lot for you. Same with Hand Sorceress over here. The point of farming either of them is just to fill out your villains team, so that's really to only farming them to the point of unlocking them and building them as needed to complete content. But you don't want to do too much more. Technically, Hand Sorceress and Bullseye both have uses in various things that come to the game every once in a while, which are the Relic Hunt, which gives you Catalyst, which will eventually be helpful, and Payday with the Mercenaries, which gets you gold, which is really helpful, but you don't really need to spend resources into them, but farming them at least to the point of unlocking gives you a bit of a head start and allows you to clear some more content. But again, the real one you're wanting to be farming is Yondu. Again, here, you're going to be Shield Security. Elektra is basically given to you for free. Now we're getting Heroes 4. None of these characters are... Shield Operative is a good character. These other two are not worth it for anything. But Shield Operative isn't really needed for much in this game. So there's not a lot of return on investment. The next character that you could even say has any return would be in Heroes 5, which is Kree Reaper. And this aim character right here, security, I believe. Is it security? Could be assaulter. Don't know. I'm drawing a blank right now. But anyways, at the same point, this is a little further on in the campaign, and you're not going to really be wanting to be worried about that. So the best recommendation is going to be Yondu as your first main farm, and then just unlock some villains where you can, and maybe an extra hero where you can, just to complete your teams so that you can compete in some more content. But at the same point, they're not super important for your roster. So build them as necessary. So now let's say we've gone through and we've actually unlocked Villains Campaign. Out of the Villains Campaign, we're not definitely farming those characters. That's too early on for these guys. Villains 1, you kind of run into this issue again. These characters aren't great. They don't really provide you with a lot of value right off the bat, but you're gonna have to pick somebody. So first off, you could theoretically do Hawkeye, but he is not a good character. So, but that would fill out your heroes. You can farm up your shield medic, who could help you get more shield characters at higher stars, and that can help you get through some content. Or you can choose to do Bullseye if you feel you're struggling more in the Villains Campaign. You want to get some stars there. You have a Hydra Sniper here, who is good on a Hydra team, but doesn't really provide a lot of value outside of it. So it's not really worth it. You can make an argument for doing JJ, because she does have some extra value in the fact that she is on the Defenders. So it is a Defender character, which will have some synergy with what you have already. Because you have some synergy with city heroes between Punisher, SpiderMan, Luke Cage, and you add JJ to that, and you're doing pretty decent. She also will help you with the block party, anything that requires city heroes. So JJ might be the one to get to, even if it's not the best option, but it's going to help you finish off a heroes team with decent characters that have some value. Then you're going to get to Villains 3. You got Merc Lieutenant, who's actually a pretty decent character, and there's not a whole lot up until later Villains nodes. Like, some of these characters have some use, such as Mystique will help you unlock Magneto, aim security again, I think. But at the same point, most of these characters are further along down the road. So my recommendation for the first real farm in the Villains Campaign is actually Jessica Jones. So you're going to be wanting to get you some Yondu from the Heroes Campaign, some Jessica Jones from the Villains Campaign. So let's recap that. Assuming those are the characters you go with, out of the just unlocked, Hand Sorceress and Bullseye, you now have a heroes team of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Punisher, Spider-Man, and Shield Medic, which is not particularly great, but it can help you get through the initial portions of the game. And you have a villains team including Crossbones, who is not too great, but will help you get through the beginning, plus is getting buffed in the near future, so that's not too bad. Elektra, who's not too great. Hand Sorceress, not too great. Bullseye, not too great. You're not going to have a particularly good villains team at this point in the game, but hopefully you can get it to Villains 2-9 and eventually to being able to unlock Nexus Campaign. I'm going to go through the campaigns first, just so you can kind of get a projection of that, and then I'm going to talk about the stores afterwards. But next we're going into Nexus Campaign. Again, we're not going to be near here right now, so we're going to have to go back to Nexus 1. Here we have some more options. You have Captain America, who is a decent character. You have Iron Fist, who works with your defenders that you have around, and is another city hero if you want to go that route. Both the Iron Fist makes some sense. You have Shield Assault, who is good with Nick Fury, but that's a bit down the road and can help you unlock Iron Man, but not super crucial. And you have Groot. Those are the first two chapters here. Then after that, we're getting Nexus 3, Nexus 4. Nexus 4, you got Black Panther. That's an interesting one to have early on, but what I would recommend here is I'm going to say you're going to want to go for Groot. The reason why, assuming you can get to Groot, if you can't, you can do Iron Fist. But the reason why is, yes, Groot is just another hero, and on his own, he's not particularly great. He needs the rest of his team to be good, but that gets you another cosmic hero, which is important because you're going to be wanting to get into the cosmic campaign, and plus, he is also a guardian, so now you're going to have 2 guardians that are being farmed between Yondu and Groot. And once you get to 5, you can unlock Star-Lord, which is a great beginner's point for this game. But yeah, so I'm going to say Heroes Campaign, you're going to want to start with Yondu. Villains Campaign, you're going to want to start with Jessica Jones. Nexus Campaign, you're going to want to start with Groot. Again, these are your main farms for the main portion of your energy. It's okay to spend some to unlock some of the other characters, such as Iron Fist, and build those characters only up to where you need to complete the content. That is kind of a huge important thing. Don't overspend your resources. But yeah, Groot is my recommendation for early on in the Nexus campaign, and this is all building up to Cosmic Campaign. The issue is we currently, based on what I've said, you have 2 cosmic characters. You're going to have Yondu and you're going to have Groot. So you can't do anything in Cosmic Campaign. And you're basically, this entire goal is getting you to Cosmic 1-9. So how are we going to do that? Yes, you can be farming any cosmics that you find in those characters with your side energy, and that's not a bad idea. But what we also have is the stores. So let me talk about the stores really quick. I've already given how you should be spending, like when you should be buying orbs versus buying character shards, but let's actually go over some of these characters now. You have Ravager Boomer, Mercenary Riot Guard, Kree Royal Guard, Hydra Scientist, Hydra Rifle Trooper, A Monstrosity, Luke Cage, Crossbones, Gamora, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Mantis, Miles, Rhino, The Thing, Strife, Toad, and Rescue in the Blitz Store. Well, how should you be doing this? At this point in time, there are really only 2 characters maybe 3 characters you can even make an argument for. But the one that I'm going to recommend you go for, first off in this, is going to be Mantis. Why Mantis? Well, Mantis is yet another Guardian, which is going to help you get towards unlocking Star-Lord. Plus, Mantis is Cosmic, which is going to help you get into that Cosmic campaign and do a little better. Plus, she's a healer. So for the first bit, I would recommend you farm Mantis. She's a good character, one of the best healers, and that's also going to help you start doing a bit better in raids because she will instantly be your best healer. So there you go, Mantis in the Blitz Store. So we got Yondu out of Heroes Campaign, we got Jessica Jones out of the Villains Campaign, we have Groot out of Nexus, we have Mantis out of the Blitz Store, plus all of the side farms, which you can still be doing and spending your energy efficiently as possible, not only moving through the campaigns, but farming a little bit. So now we can go into the raid store, but you're not going to be able to see all the raid characters. I actually have a list of all possible raid characters on my phone. You can actually find that if you just look in the raid orbs here. So let's do that so that you can see it just as the same as me. So you can see what we're thinking here. First off, we have quite a few different options to go for that make sense. And I've thought about a lot of different ways you can do this at this point, but given everything that we're having, I believe the most efficient, best thing you can be doing is if you're building up your cosmic team, you might as well be preparing yourself to unlocking an early legendary as well. So for that reasoning, I would suggest out of this raid store, the first character you farm up and are working on unlocking and building is Rocket. Because again, he is cosmic and he's a guardian. Now you can make some arguments for a few of the other characters here. Mysterio is a good choice, but I'm saying Mysterio is part of the Wave 2, Phase 2, so that's the next video. But again, he is not cosmic, and you're needing some cosmic or some villains to kind of help complete your team. Thor is actually a very legitimate choice that a lot of people are suggesting, because you can get him really early on in the game, and he is cosmic. He is a hero. He is an Asgardian, and he is shield, or he is an Avenger. So there's a lot of good aspects to Thor that you can use. He will eventually help you unlock one of the later legendaries in the game, and he is going to make an appearance on this beginner's guide, just not for me right now. Some people would even say Killmonger's already preparing you for the Chaos Theory event, but to me that's a little further on down the road and more of a side project. So the one to me that makes the most sense is going to be Rocket. Some people may argue Ronin because he is villain, cosmic mystic, but I think just the opportunity of unlocking a legendary or kind of building towards that is just more efficient with your resources. So Rocket is the main one when you're buying character shards specifically. But again, for both Blitz and Raid, kind of intermittently go between buying the orbs and buying the shards to be as efficient as possible in unlocking everything. So you can get Rocket and Thor, but focus on the Rocket ones for the time being. Next off, we have Arena. I'm not sure why I said that so funny. So let's take a look at what we have here in Arena. We have Armored Guard, Shield Security, Archer, Researcher, Daredevil, Quake, Drax, Mordo, Scarlet Witch, Deadpool, Juggernaut, M'Baku, Vulture, Human Torch, Heimdall, Crystal, and Blob. Honestly, you have a lot of good options here that are all building for things. For instance, Crystal is building towards Ebony Maw, Quake is building towards Ebony Maw, Heimdall is building towards Black Bolt, Vulture is one that he's going to be in the Mysterio with Wave 2. M'Baku is helping build towards the Chaos Theory event. Juggernaut and Blob are both helping towards unlocking Magneto. Deadpool is part of a good team. Scarlet Witch is part of Supernatural, which is a good team and something that I considered kind of trying to make one of the first teams, but you can't really build the full Supernatural right away. Mordo, who is a very interesting choice because Mordo is a very good character. Villain, mystic, cosmic, helps you unlock Phoenix, and Phoenix is a definite necessity to unlock. Oh, my store is just refreshed. But anyways, so he is one that is high in consideration. And then you have Drax. Drax is the other one that's high in consideration because Drax, again, he's just a hero, but he is cosmic, and he helps you unlock Star-Lord. So what do you do here? You kind of run into a bit of a wall because they both make sense. So what I recommend at this point, you farm Mordo until you unlock him. Once you have unlocked Mordo, you start farming Drax. And you just keep farming Drax up just so that you are ready for Star-Lord as soon as you can be. Because now you're going to be farming Yondu, you're going to be farming Mantis, you're going to be getting Rocket, and then Drax. That is 4 of the possible characters that you need to help you unlock Star-Lord, which means and Groot. You're getting Groot out of Nexus. So that is all 5 of the possible characters you need to unlock Star-Lord. So in this beginning days, you're going to be already in the path to unlocking your first legendary character. But you do want to have Mordo unlocked so that you can use him. First off, those shards are always good because you're going to need them eventually when you're trying to unlock Phoenix. But Mordo is going to be very helpful in this Cosmic campaign. It's going to be very helpful in the Mystic campaign eventually, and he's going to help you in Villains campaign. So I would recommend getting Mordo unlocked so you can use him and then farm Drax. Now here we are in the most interesting part. Don't mind me buying a Sif here. I need to buy Stiff. We are now in the War Store. War Store gives you a lot of characters that you need to be farming at some point in the game or not. For me, I need to be farming Sif just a little more to get the 7-star Black Bolt. I'm close, but we'll see. Carnage is going to be a character you're going to be wanting at some point, but you need some other characters to really be ready for that. And he is found here as well. But finally, you have the character that I think you should be starting off with. And that is a bit of a weird choice because everything I've been telling you is to pick characters that help you get to something specific. This one doesn't. But that character that you should be farming out of the War Store is Mr. Sinister right off the bat until you unlock him. Why is that? Honestly, Mr. Sinister is just such a good character that can help you from such an early spot in this game to such a late spot in this game. It would not be wise to not get him at this point, at least to the point of unlocking him. So you farm Mr. Sinister until you unlock him. He is going to make Villains Campaign so much easier. You can use him in your raids. You can use him in Arena. He is such a good character that even if it may slow down your legendary progress for some of these characters, he's going to give you so much of a benefit in this game because he has a mechanic that's completely uncounterable. He can copy one of the enemies, any enemy on the other team, and assuming you can target him, and then you have a 6th character on your team with the stats of Mr. Sinister, more or less, and the abilities of the other character. So if you're running into something that you can't beat because there's a Magneto, you can clone that Magneto and you both have Magneto. If you run into an issue because there's an Ultron on the other team, you can clone their Ultron and now you have an Ultron. He is just so good. He heals well. He is a great raid character. And I have found a team where you can use all beginner type characters that are really easy to get as a new player in the highest levels of raids and be pretty successful. So that is my recommendation. In the War Store, you go for Mr. Sinister first, unlock him, then you can start switching to Sif probably. Let me just double check that to make sure that's what I had down. I know Mr. Sinister is first. Yeah, that is correct. I say start with Mr. Sinister, and then once you have him unlocked, you spend your resources on him, and then you start farming Sif up for shards, because again, she is a cosmic character, and a hero and an Asgardian, which is going to help you in the long run. But that is why I recommend Mr. Sinister first. So overall, let me go through this again. You start with the Heroes Campaign, Yondu. Villains Campaign, Jessica Jones. Nexus Campaign, Groot. Cosmic Campaign, well, the point is unlocking Cosmic. Blitz Store, you're going to want to focus. By focus, I mean both getting orbs and shards intermittently. Orbs when you can, shards when you have to, but you're going to be starting with Mantis. Raids, you're going to be focusing Rocket. Arena, you're going to be unlocking Mordo and then farming Drax. Then in War Store, you're going to be unlocking Mr. Sinister and farming Sif. That is going to get you, and spending your excess campaign energy on unlocking enough characters to help you get through the Villains Campaign, or be eligible for the Villains Campaign and completing your heroes team. Characters such as Hand Sorceress and Bullseye. What is his name? Iron Fist. Nothing too important. Just spend resources as sparingly as possible to get through the content, other than on the characters that are going to have a more long-term plan. Overall, with all the free characters that you have and the characters recommended, you will then have at your disposal SpiderMan, Punisher, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Shield Medic, Crossbones, Elektra, Yondu. There we go. Now my brain's going a little down. So we're going to have Yondu. Then we're going to have, I already said Jessica Jones. We're going to have Groot. Then we're going to have, out of the Blitz Store, you are guaranteed Mantis. Out of Arena Store, Mordo, Drax. Raid Store, Rocket. Arena, I already said Arena. War Store, Mr. Sinister, and then Sif. That is the ones that you're guaranteed to have. You're possibly going to get some others through the orbs and everything else that you get in your casual farming, but those are the core of what you have. You're going to be wanting to get all of the Guardians and Ravagers, because that is 5 of them, between Rocket, Groot, Yondu, Mantis, and Drax, up to 5 stars as soon as possible, maybe even 6, but we'll talk about that later. But you're just going to really want to be farming them as much as possible, ideally to 5 stars. so that you can get Star-Lord. But again, heroes, you're going to have quite a few good heroes at your disposal between just basically with everyone that we unlocked. You're going to be able to get far enough in the Heroes campaign for what you need. And especially once with all the Guardians and then Star-Lord, you're easily going to have a good heroes base. Villains, you're going to have characters such as Mr. Sinister, which is huge, Mordo, which is huge. And after that, you can really fill it out with whatever, but you're going to have Crossbones, you're going to have Elektra, and so on and so forth. You're going to have enough to get by on the villains, mainly because of Mordo and Mr. Sinister. Honestly, you're going to have enough good raid characters between Mantis and Mr. Sinister to keep you healed that you're going to be able to keep going in your raids. And you're going to have some good arena characters such as Mr. Sinister to help you go through that. And Cosmic, you're going to have a lot of Cosmic options between Mordo, Yondu, all of the Guardians, eventually Star-Lord, Sif, and he has Guardians, and so on and so forth. And this is going to put you in a really good situation. So that is the area, that is the direction that you should be starting this game to build for. Between your first characters you're farming out of each store, and whether you're just going to keep farming them or you're just farming them to unlock and building. Spend your resources sparingly as possible, and the characters that you should be focusing in every single campaign to start off this game. I do hope this was helpful and you enjoyed this. There is more to come in the coming days, but what is next after you have this? But I do hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this was helpful. Let me know any questions in the comments, or you can join my Discord. There's a link in the video description. Ask me anything, anytime, and I'll answer you as soon as I can to get you as much information about what's going on and why I suggest things. If you have any other thoughts, please let me know. I'm more than willing to hear them. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. I do hope this was helpful. And as always, actually, quick thing before I finish off. I've talked for a fair amount of time. This is quite long. There's a decent chance that I break this video into 2 parts. But if this is going to be a 2-part video, you will know by this already. But they will be coming out really close to each other, like within a day. So hopefully that's not a big deal. But the next phase should be coming within the next few days as well. But anyways, I hope that it was helpful. And as always, I'm here to help. Bye, guys.